We're here today with Cassandra Greene, and she has been the director of the Morse Ford Bridge lynching reenactment in Monroe, Georgia for many years. And you recently received a Lifetime Achievement Award. Could you tell us the whole name of your award and a little bit about what that was for?
Okay. It is the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award that is signed by President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. And someone submitted me for it. I didn't even realize they had done it for my work in civil and human rights, which I have worked with civil and human rights issues for almost 37 years. So
Wow.
It's just for a culmination of domestic violence, human rights, all the different things that I did. And so I'm honored. I'm deeply honored and humbled by it.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That is quite an honor and
Thank
quite a well-deserved recognition for all the work that you've done.
Thank you.
Because the economy has gotten so much worse,
Mhm.
people are working more.
Yes.
And so sometimes they want to be home, but they can't be home.
They can't. They can't.
And so you've got latchkey kids, you've
Mhm.
got...
The amount, especially in our community, the black community, we have so many single parent homes. And I know I used to be a single mom with 2 kids, and I was working 2 jobs and going to school.
Wow.
How do you, it's hard to parent, but I was doing that for my kids to have a better life than
Right.
I did.
Sure.
And a lot of mothers, that's what they do. I remember, and I just want to share this. I remember when I used to have to take MARTA to work, right? I would jump on MARTA. I would get on one bus, go to the train station, get on another bus, and then get on another bus to get to work. And I remember it would be 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I would see mothers, single mothers, walking to the bus, and we would all be standing there exhausted,
Wow.
Some in uniform, some, just in their regular clothes, whatever, going to work, and get on the bus, fall asleep immediately.
Wow.
As soon as they got on the bus. When we got to the train station, got off the train, as soon as they hit the train, fall asleep immediately.
Wow.
Just exhausted from just the sheer moving around. And that's not talking about working 8, 10, 12 hours during that day. You understand what I'm
That's
saying?
an incredible schedule.
So, and I remember I wrote a poem about that, about, all these black people and how they keep saying, it hurts me when I hear them say we're lazy and we're not trying to do, we just want welfare and food stamps. Let me tell you something. The mothers, a lot of the single mothers that I know, even though they're working 2 jobs, they need food stamps just to feed their kids. Because the wages that we get in this country, they can't even pay rent to live in a halfway decent, not even a decent area. You got to pay rent, light, gas, water. So getting food stamp is your lifeline.
Yeah.
So while people are talking, they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
So
It's not a living wage, and if you do any research at all, and it takes 10 minutes on the internet,
okay, that's all.
you can figure out that people cannot live
No.
on, I don't even know how people are fighting for $15, $20 an hour. It's still pretty tough to live on that.
Listen.
I mean,
so imagine living on $7.35 an hour, or what? How in the world do you want people? How do you do that? How? For all of the people that judge people and say, well, they don't need any more money, blah, 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 I want them to have to live for a year on $7, minimum wage, $7 or whatever it is. I want you to maintain your house, maintain your light gas. And we're not even talking about a car, because most of us are walking, going to the bus station, taking trains and buses. I want them to do that for a year. Everybody that feels like we don't need a raise in minimum wage.
I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see that. Work that. And then once, if you can do that and not be in a rat infested neighborhood with your children, let's do it.
You can go camp somewhere.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I can't remember her name, but she wrote a book called Nickel and Dimed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, I don't know, 2 decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of resistance on the part of large corporations to acknowledging it. So there's a lot of, racism comes in handy for large corporations, the fossil fuel industry, which needs sacrifice zones, where they can dump toxic
chemicals,
whatever. And so they use racism, and it's not that racism, the only reason they can use it is because it exists. But it is significantly perpetuated by some of these large corporations and banks and the whole conglomerate of how it all works together for financial gain, massive concentrated greed. And it perpetuates the spreading of false information. And sometimes the white population is too willing to buy into that.
And that, I think, during the Trump administration, Lord, I called his name. I have not called his name. I don't call his name. During his administration, I think a lot of white people, because I had a lot of friends that were evangelicals. I'm in ministry, so I had a lot of friends evangelicals. Literally, I lost almost every white friend that I had that was evangelical.
Oh, wow.
I mean, people that I had known for years, our relationship became strained because you are supporting and going along and saying, oh yeah, he's right, boom, 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 boom. Everything that this man said, they agreed with. And I had to literally, one person, we've been friends for about 13, 14 years. And I had to tell her, the stuff that you're allowing on your page lets me know that you're not my friend.
Wow. The
things that your friends are saying and you are agreeing with lets me know that we cannot be friends. I don't understand. We've known each other. No. Because if you can let somebody say these things about my people, they're my people regardless. We are not friends. So I lost a lot of friends, almost every evangelical Christian friend that I had doing that.
That must have been a lot of loss for you.
A lot of loss.
And at the same time, it's I don't even know what the word is, to think that people who are calling themselves Christian cannot recognize racism, cannot call it out.
That's it. It's not Democrat or Republican, because a lot of things that were being said and done were racist.
Right.
That was my problem with it.
Yeah.
You are not recognizing racism, and you're saying that this is not racist. That's not. Well, for people of color, it is racist. So what is it that you're seeing? And according to the Bible, even a lot of the things that were being said and done are racist. So what are you seeing? What are you seeing that I'm missing? Because there's something wrong with the whole setup. Everything about it was oppressive towards people of color, toward people of different religions. I have friends of people that are Muslims, whatever. I don't care. I'm not trying to convert everybody to if they want to hear about Christianity, fine. We'll talk about it. But I don't push what I believe or feel like everyone should be demonized because they don't believe like I believe. And that is what has taken place in this country. That's what is taking place in this country. Everyone that's not a Christian is being demonized.
Yeah.
And even those of us that are Christians were demonized by people that said that they were evangelicals and Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
We became enemies as a result of what you say is a God that you love, and he loves everybody, but he don't love Democrats. He don't love Muslims. He don't love... What the heck?
Or people of color, or people who are different.
That's what I'm saying. I don't care whether it's gender, whatever it is. You have demonized people because of that. If a woman decides she wants to have an abortion, you've demonized that. The Democrats, they're demons because they want the women to have abortions. They think women should have abortions, blah, 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 blah. I think women should have a choice. It's your body.
Nobody wants to have an abortion.
Okay. As a Christian woman, I say let a woman choose. You're not going to tell me that you're going to make me have a baby that I don't want to have. Because then, and this is my thing about that part, you minimize who God is. Because God, if God wants a child to come onto this earth, guess what? You think someone aborting a baby is going to stop that? No, ma'am. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He's all that and a bag of chips. So why couldn't he place that baby
somewhere else? Yeah.
Come on. It's not rocket science.
Right. That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? But you minimize who God is, and then you talking about, oh, God wants us to do... No, you minimizing who he is.
Mm-hmm. You know, one of the things I was thinking about, too, when you were talking about poverty and black-on-black crime, you know, one of the things that a number of our country's leaders have talked about is the whole issue of systemic situations where you have chronic poverty. You know, people are living in a terrorizing environment in terms of, you know, you had the black codes, you had all these different things. And then you have sometimes corrupt police officers, even, you know, in some of these areas. And the ways in which poverty, you know, breeds violence and breeds trauma. I mean, you have, you know, we've known since the 50s. I remember reading in Reader's Digest, and then it was in like the 50s, and well, the article was probably in the 70s, but it was saying we've known since the 50s how to alleviate and eliminate poverty, but we don't do it. And we've known since the 50s that poverty, you know, increases heart disease, cancer, suicide, all these immune diseases because of stress, and you know, and can trigger mental illness. You know, when there's a hereditary. Now we know from new research that when kids grow up for a certain period of time around certain kinds of pollution chemicals, it can create new cases of schizophrenia and bipolar where there's no genetic predisposition. So it's actually breeding mental illness.
Well, I know that we have in Charleston, we had a problem with lead paint in the water system.
Gosh.
And in the, like, my son had such high lead poisoning in his system that we believe that is what caused him. He struggled in school, and we believe that his struggles learning was as a result of that high level of lead that he had in his system. I mean, his level was crazy.
Wow.
And they were like, okay, they're giving him all these meds and different stuff, but I think the damage by that time had been done to his cognitive process.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, I believe that there are a lot of different dynamics that have led in the black community to the violence and different things, because a lot of these young guys and girls that are in gangs, they're looking for something. They want something. They want to be able to go and buy a pair of shoes, but their mother can't afford to buy the shoes because she's working 2 jobs trying to feed them and the 2 brothers or sisters or 3 brothers and sisters at the house. So then how do I get it? I'm going to go out there. I may do, deal drugs or whatever, but it's a means to an end. You understand what I'm saying? So they're trying to survive as they know best. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's not right and I don't agree with it, I understand how many of them got into gangs and looking for family, because that's what I was looking for. I joined the gang for family because I wanted to feel like I was a part of something and somebody cared about me and not just me caring for everyone else.
And that's what a lot of the research says about
yes,
why
it's the
kids
truth.
actually join
It's the truth.
gangs. Is they want love, and the research shows too that when there's a lot of poverty, there's more stress, and then there tends to be more child abuse. There tends to be more other kinds of abuse and neglect. And so it's not rocket science that you create this environment and it takes a stellar person like yourself and some other people who manage to survive those situations and do great things with their lives, And if you put kids in a situation where that are abusive and they don't have food and they don't have a safe environment, the likelihood of them being able to survive that well is very low. That is predictable.
It is.
That is cause and effect. You may have some stellar people who manage to survive that, but you can't sit back and say, well, why can't everybody survive hell and be great?
That's what I'm saying. And I think people really have no idea, unless you have grown up in poverty. You have no idea what that does to your psyche, even from a little kid, even from a young age. It was like, I don't want to be poor when I grow up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I still haven't really gotten anywhere near where I would like to be, but it's just the idea that I don't want my children to go through what I went through. I did things with my children in the hood that people were not doing. I took my kids to the orchestra symphony. Symphony. I took my kids to plays, and they were like, "Oh, you trying to be somebody you're not." And I just wanted better for them. I wanted to see them, and I was a young mother, but I wanted to see my children do something different. You understand? So I would take them to really nice restaurants. Young age, and my grandmother would even say, she said, "Oh yeah, she lived in that champagne life with bare money," and that was okay. It's okay. I moved my children from downtown Charleston in the hood where I grew up to North Charleston, which was more white, and got them in like a better, apartment. Like most of our neighbors in the apartment we lived in were white people. Military people, you know what I'm saying? So I always knew that I wanted better for my children than what I had. And believe it or not, regardless of what people say, most black mothers, even in the hood, they want to see better for their children. And once again, I'm going to repeat, I get really upset when I hear people say that black people are just lazy and they don't want to do any better. That's a lie from the pits of hell. Because we struggle so hard for our children to have better and to do better than what we did.
I mean, it's quite a struggle in so many ways. And honestly, that's another whole conversation to really. I mean, you've given some pictures with the bus and working, and but. It's it's quite an, if you really expand that picture to look at the whole context of what it means to try to raise a child in those kinds of circumstances, that's another whole conversation.
Yeah, it really is.
Because it's there's a lot of obstacles,
Absolutely.
in people talk about intersectionality. I mean, there's obstacles in jobs, in pay, in racism, sexism. There's obstacles in safety, and transportation, and I mean it's just and then just I mean it's just a more than we could even try to talk about today. But I mean, I think it's a very important point, and white people do not understand systemic racism. I wrote a blog about a year or two ago and listed 40 types of systemic racism, and I'm sure that's not even
the whole list.
Yeah, not even close, probably. But just from my understanding, and I think having conversations with people and listening to people's life stories and struggles and what it's really like, and learning about what systemic racism is. I think it's very hard for people in general to think systemically. We want to think personally. We want to see things concrete. That we can touch and feel and see. But when we think about policies and procedures, and we think about systems like how corporations and banks and real estate agents and redlining and all these different things work together, it's harder to get people it's confusing, and it requires critical thinking, and it's just work. To understand it, and a lot of people just don't want to do that.
I remember a couple of years ago I did an NBC interview, and NBC did a clip on the before they showed it, the actual story. And in the clip, they showed different parts of Moores Ford Bridge lynching. And then there was a part where they had my voice come in, and I said, if you cry, I did my job as a director. If you get angry, I did my job as a director, because then it starts a conversation. And what you said is dead spot on. We have to have the difficult conversations. You will never understand who I am, what I've been through, where I'm trying to go, if we can't even talk about what has happened with me in my past. The way that you are going to understand who I am is to know what I've been through. You understand? And still going through. So it's about conversations, and that's why I'm always so open to talk to people about the things that are happening in our world, in my community, in my life. I'm pretty much an open book. People know that know me. I'm pretty much an open book. So because I know how important it is to get it out for me, and then get it out for you to understand who I really am. Yeah.
What are your thoughts about what's happening with voting, some of the voting laws that are restrictive, and that were passed in Georgia and that are happening around the country? I know a lot of people are very concerned.
I'm extremely concerned, because there was no need to fix anything, because nothing was broken. You let one person start a rumor that an election was stolen, and so now you're trying to redo all of the different states. You want them to redo their legislation when it comes to voting. which there was no problem. So you're fixing something that wasn't broken, as far as I'm concerned. And then to me, it's obvious why you're doing it, because the people that are affected are mainly people of color and poor people, rural people.
Yeah.
So for me, none of it needs to change, even though they've already done what they wanted to do. But this is what is going to get them, the people that wanted the laws changed. Black people are going to come out in numbers like never before, and along with white people that know what they're doing,
Right.
we are going to blow all those ones that did it just for those are racist. That's white racist stuff, and it is suppressing people. And when I think about it, and it really bothers me, because the Malcolms and the Dorseys, the year that they were killed, 1946, that was the first year that blacks were allowed to vote in the Democratic primary in Georgia.
Wow.
And Governor Eugene Talmadge was going around Georgia, including in Monroe, telling white people, if you reelect me, niggers may vote in this election because the federal government says so. But in the next election, I promise you niggers won't vote.
Wow.
So right there, you had voter suppression, voter intimidation, killing people. And I believe with all my heart that the reason, I believe the Malcolms and the Dorseys died as a part of that
Sure.
suppression that was going on
Sure.
at that time. And there were several blacks killed around Georgia in 1946 because of voter suppression. They wanted to bring fear and intimidation, like they still doing right now, to make people not vote. But I think they're in for a rude awakening, because I believe that whites that see what they're doing and black people are going to come out in numbers that's going to blow their mind.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know black people are, because they're already talking about it.
Good.
We trying to get everybody, Bobo, Jackie, people ain't never voted before. We're trying to get registered.
Good.
This is our life that's out here. And they're trying to suppress our vote, our right to have people that we want to see in office. And that should not happen.
I'm glad to hear that. I really am. You know, Stacey Abrams was such an incredible leader, and her whole team of people, you know, and registering people to vote. And I think it came as a shock to some of the good old boy network that's still here in Georgia.
It did.
And I think this is partially blowback, you know, from that.
Absolutely.
Among other things.
How do you demonize somebody that her only sin in your eyes is that she registered people to vote? Well, sign me up for the sin list. If that's all you can come up with on her, is it she went around trying to get people to vote? Well, damn it, sign me up. I want to be on the list with safety. It doesn't even make sense that they have demonized this woman around the country, not just in Georgia. They have demonized her. They're talking about her on all these different networks and stuff. And she did this, and she made people, and she stole this, and she... One woman that her only crime in your eyes is that she was registering people to vote. What the hell? What an indictment.
She's an incredible leader and an incredible organizer.
Yes.
You know, and she did that with a team of people.
Yes.
So, you know.
Yeah. Because I was canvassing for voters last election. I went out and was canvassing. When she was running for governor, I was out doing what I can. My thing is, my motto for my life is, no one can do everything, but everyone can do something. So the little that I can do, that is what I try to do.
Well, the little that you do adds up to a lot. But, you know, I think part of that blowback too is you know, if they slander, I mean, that's a lot of what happens is, you know, these people who are racist and white supremacist and want to retain power when the fact is that the majority of people in Georgia don't want them in power, as we saw from the last election. You know, their response is to gerrymander. You know, draw the line so that they can remain in power. It's to slander people, you know, women leaders like Stacey Abrams.
Keisha Lance Bottoms. They talk so bad about Keisha Lance Bottoms. It's ridiculous. That lady is trying to protect the people in Atlanta and Fulton County. That's all she's been trying to do. Protect people. And they have literally demonized her as well. So you have these strong black women that you know, oh no, they trying to do too much. We got to shut them down. We got to discredit them somehow. You know?
I mean, I was thankful and grateful for her Keisha Lance Bottoms leadership when she made the mask mandate. And now, you know, people in Florida, you know, DeSantis, the governor of Florida, is getting sued because he's outlawed mask mandates, and schools are just overriding him and just ignoring him.
Okay.
You know?
And that's what they need to do.
Yeah.
Because you need to protect, you have to protect
lives.
These children, you have to protect these teachers. Teachers are getting out there, putting their lives out on the line, and you talking about don't wear a mask, don't be telling the kids to wear a mask. I'm not teaching unless they're in masks. Bottom line. You can do whatever. You want to fire me? Go ahead and fire me. But I am not teaching because my life is going to be in danger. And that's the way most teachers feel. Like, you're asking us to go out there and risk our lives because we know that these kids are running out with each other and ain't nobody trying to mask up, and they're bringing the virus home to their family members. The family members getting sick and dying, a lot of them. The kids, they get sick a little bit and they back up and run it.
Kids are getting more sick now.
Now they're getting sicker with this new variant. But just think about that. And you're talking about not wearing a mask? You can save a life by wearing a mask. And you can't wear a mask? It's something wrong. Yeah. It's something wrong with that even thought pattern. Oh, we're in America and people have a right to wear a mask that can save lives. You are complaining about wearing a mask that could save your life and other. It doesn't make sense to me. You know.
Yeah.
We could have skipped the Lifetime Achievement Award, but I get so embarrassed by it because I don't feel like I do enough. I want to do so much more, and I am. People don't realize I'm really humbled, and I get embarrassed almost when people talk about, well, you do all of it. It is okay because it's just who I am. It's just what I want to do with my life. I want to try to help make people's lives better through my life. I know the life that I've had and how horrible it was. If I can keep one person from living anything close to what I lived, I'm all in.
Well, Cassandra, I'm just so grateful to know you, and I'm so grateful for you giving this time today, and for you, just the courage that you have in the way you live your life in so many different ways. And, you know, as a minister, as a person who works with domestic violence, as a director of a reenactment, that's a tough thing for people to do. I mean, it's very emotional. It's very takes a lot of emotional energy for people to do that every year. And in your work as an actress, and just so many different things that you do, that as an advocate, as an activist. You know, I just really appreciate this time.
Thank you.
And thank you for letting me interview you today.